Okay, so first step on connecting the app for the Paralenz would be to open up your Wi-Fi, switch your Wi-Fi on. You'll see your Wi-Fi will connect automatically to Paralenz. Next step, it's going to say no internet access, switch to other available networks, choosing will leave the same network, so say no, it'll keep you on the Paralenz network. There's obviously no Wi-Fi, it's a camera. Select the app, it'll open up the app, and it'll say there's no logged dives on your camera yet, or there is. For now, we're going to go into our actual camera. Okay. You've got a couple things over here. Let's start on the top. Over here, you've got overlay on and off. Okay. Overlay is the digital watermark on the right-hand bottom side of the screen to show your depth, dive time, and water temperature. Over here, you've got WB or DCC. That, in very, very standard normal terms, non-photographer terms, is white balance. Okay. If your water is blue, you can put it on there. If not, you can put it on auto. Then you've got your selection of how you want to record. If you record in 4K, the image will not be able to be downloaded to your phone. 2.7K is Ultra HD, 1080p is standard, and 720p is still high definition but below. On each one, you have the choice of a frame rate. On 2.7, you have 30 or 60 frames per second. 1080, you have 100, 60 or 30 frames per second. 100 frames per second being very nice for slow-mo shots. 30 frames per second being your standard everyday movie style view. 720, you have the choice of 60, 120, or even 200 frames per second for super slow, buttery slow motion. Okay, there is an explanation on the bottom as well of what you would be, what you can use each one for and how long your battery and storage would last. If we go back, we've got now our image selection. You can shoot in standard JPEG, which is the recommendation for any standard everyday person. If you're going to edit your images, you can select RAW or JPEG. RAW is going to give you the option to properly edit your photos. You cannot use live view when the image is being shot in RAW. Then you can customize your video. On your camera, you'll see on the magnetic dial, you can select the star. If you select the star, this is where you would customize what the star does. You can be shooting in 4K, 2.7, 1080p or 720p, which your frame second, your slow motion, time lapse or photo burst. So that's a customized mode to you. You can play with that. Then you can see all the imaging on your actual camera. Here you can see everything we played around with in the shop. Then you have dive log and media. We obviously don't have any dives on this computer. We've got a dive in the pool over there actually. Underwater for 16 minutes, underwater for 58 minutes, the time that it was underwater from, and the total depth that the camera went to. Then lastly, you have your settings, your white balance or DCC. As I said earlier, you can select if you want to be in DCC mode, which you would select blue or green, or you can select white balance, where you would then select in Kelvin. White balance would be the more advanced option. DCC being the more standard, is the water blue, is the water green option. Okay. Also, quick run-throughs on when to use white balance and when to use DCC, and which DCC filter should I use, to give you a bit of a lesson on what to pick. You can then see your video options, same thing again, what's your resolution, what's your frames per second, your photo options, shooting in RAW or shooting in JPEG, your custom mode, that little star on your camera, overlay, what would you like on the overlay, would you like to enable the overlay? If you select off, it shall say it was succeeded, and it will show you overlay on, it will say on and succeeded. Auto record, it will give a quick description of how auto record works and the depth at which the auto record shall start. And then finally, your advanced settings. What would you like your time format in? Your depth, we're obviously right, so we go in meters. And temperature units, again, we are right, so we use Celsius. If you would like Fahrenheit as well. Time and date on camera, you can set 0 the depth. If you want to calibrate the camera, you can 0 it, delete all files in SD card, and your camera firmware update. As the cameras are future proof, if anything new comes out, you can update your camera right here from your app.